Sir, thank you. Hello, everyone. Hello, students. I'm audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. And my
Guys,
screen
if you
is
have any
visible.
doubt, you can directly ask, sir.
First, let's start with a small introduction. My name is Priyansh Bari, and I'm working from last 15 years in this domain as a cloud infra engineer. And I have expertise in Windows Server and the hypervisors technologies like Type 1 hypervisor and Type 2 hypervisors, and the cloud technologies with the Azure. Okay. Today we are here to cover this combination course like AZ-104 and AZ-500. Okay. So let's first discuss the syllabus for this technology, like what we are going to cover in this course. So first, we will start with the very fundamentals with the Azure, like what are the cloud services, what is cloud, and all these things. Then after this, we will go to advanced topic like the security topic. Let me show you the syllabus and the certification from the official site. Like this is the official certification for AZ-104, Microsoft Certified Azure Administrator Associate. Okay, so we are going to cover this syllabus. So first, the prerequisites for
Please,
the
it seems
Azure Administrator.
the web page is not visible.
Hello.
Please, where are you reading from? Are you reading from the PowerPoint or you have a web page?
Your audio is not properly audible.
Hello?
Hello, yeah, please
Yes,
repeat.
yes, I can see only PowerPoint presentation. I can't see other.
Okay, okay, just a minute. Now this screen is visible, my browser.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, fine. Thank you. So this is the official website where you can take the information about the certification. So in our course, we are going to cover the two certifications. Like the first one is AZ-104, and that is this one, Azure Administrator Associate. And the second one is AZ-500, Azure Security Engineer Associate. So these two certifications we are going to cover in these classes. So firstly, we will start with the AZ-104. Okay. So this is the syllabus for AZ-104. First, we will start with the first unit where we will learn about the Cloud Shell and the basics of PowerShell. So this is our first unit where we cover the introduction to Azure Cloud Shell and the basics of Cloud Shell and deploying the ARM. So this part we will cover in our unit 1, and then we will move over to next unit, manage and identity governance in Azure. Okay. So this is our next unit. Here we learn about Microsoft Intra ID, how to create and configure, manage the identity, and all the components of Intra ID we will cover in this unit. Then after this, we will move over next unit where we learn about the storage part. So this is our next unit, implementing managing storage in Azure. So here we will see how you can store your data in Azure. What are the type of storage service offered by the Azure? So configuring storage account and all these things like file storage, database storage, all things we are going to cover in this unit. And after this, we will move towards the computing resource like the virtual machines. So in this unit, we will cover how you can create the virtual machines, how you will manage the virtual machines. So introduction, creating, configuration, and all these things we will cover in this unit. After this, we will move towards the networking part. So we will create the VNet, different VNets, and manage the communication between different VNets and the similar VNets. All these things like creating and configuring the virtual network and IP addressing subnets. So all these things we will cover in this unit. And additionally, how you can host your local AD server DNS. So this will also be covered, like all these things. Okay. And after this, we move towards our last unit where we will look the monitoring and the backup part of the cloud. So how you can take the backups or your virtual machines. So we will learn about the backupping service of our Azure cloud. So this is the backupping part and monitoring part in the last unit. So totally we have to cover these 6 units in the certification. So from first unit we will start our course, and additionally if you require the basics, so I will also give you the basic introduction like what is cloud and what are the services model. All these things we will cover. And after this, we will move towards our next certification. So that is Security Engineer Associate. After completing AZ-104, we will start our AZ-500. So here you have to cover this 4 parts and 4 units. Okay. So let's discuss the first part where you will learn about the basic security management like identity control, access control, the basic management you will learn here. Okay. So after the basic management, you will specifically focus on the network part, how you can secure your network in Azure infrastructure. So second unit consists deeply understanding about the networking, how you can make secure your network. And after this, the third unit, where you will learn how to protect your virtual machine, storage servers, databases, and all these things. Then, after this, in the last unit, you will learn about Microsoft Defender, how Defender will work in the cloud environment, and how you can configure all the services with the help of Defender. So, this is our syllabus, what we are going to cover. So, students, any other query about the syllabus? Any confusion regarding the syllabus?
Hello,
Okay, sir.
Priyansh.
Yes.
So I just have a question.
You mean you said that in this AZ-500 certification, you will cover the identity groups and users, privilege access and everything. So, what is difference between this and SE2, SE 300?
Okay. You are asking about SE, SC 300
SC 300 and SE 200, which is mainly focused on the Defender and Sentinel as well.
secured. Yeah. So let me show you the difference and what are the syllabus difference between these certification. So just look at the introduction and the role they are focusing. Basically, this is AZ-500 that we are discussing, and this is AZ-300, okay, and this is 200, SC-200. When you talk about the SC-200, it is for the analyst, security analyst roles. When you are focusing specifically to the security analyst role, so you can go for this certification. Like when you talk about the syllabus for this, so it have more broad syllabus, okay, where you are also going to cover the endpoint security defender and plus the copilot security and other advanced security features also, okay. And in that AZ-500, you will learn how you can secure the virtual machines, your database, and all these things properly. So this is a specific field for analyst. So if you are looking for the analyst like roles, so you can go for the certification. Okay. So it will give you extra edge for the security analyst roles. And when you talk about SC300, now it is similar short of our AZ-500. But you can see there the Microsoft Entra ID is present. And this part you will also get the basics of Defender. But it is mainly focused on Microsoft Entra ID. So most of the part is revolve around the Microsoft Infra ID. So it is good for the Intra ID. So if you are looking the roles that are demanding the specific Intra ID roles, so it will give you the extra edge. Okay. But if you look the general environment, generally all things will cover in our AZ-500. So that's why we prefer our AZ-500. So you will get all the knowledge, fundamental knowledge with the help of one certification. And after this, if you are looking for a specific role and a specific certification, then you can choose the particular certifications also. Like clear, Sanjay?
Yes, yes. I was just looking for the roles. When I searched in the same way in ChatGPT, they have said you need to go with say 300 and 200 first, then you can become the architect or the associate.
Yeah, because this is covering a part, like a specific part for the this certification covering the specific part for our basic endpoint security defender, and this is covering for the intra ID part. Then this is covering all the part, but it is like very basics and good for advancement if you are looking for the specific role. But if you want to cover a broad thing, so you can go with the AZ-500. So we will cover these two certifications also in this. You just have to learn the AZ-500, and after learning the AZ-500, you can easily cover this syllabus with your own and self-study with. Okay. So this is good for taking training for the advanced things. Like if you are in the 12th standard and you know the maths for the 12th standard. So you can easily solve the mathematics of 11th standard also. But you are in 11th standard and you know the maths of the 11th standard. So you can't solve the maths of 12th standard, no? So that's why we are covering the advanced syllabus first. So you can easily do the other rest easy part. Okay. So we will cover all the things from the basics. So don't worry, you will get all the things properly. Right, Sanjay? Sanjeev?
Yes, yes, Priyansh, yes.
Okay. So let's discuss about the opportunities after completing these certifications. So after covering these two certifications, you can go for these roles. The first option that you have, the Azure Administrator or a Cloud Administrator, where you will manage, monitor Azure resources like VM, storage, networking, and identity, and deploying these services for the organization and on their subscription and their account. Okay. So generally people after covering AZ-104 go for this role, the Azure Administrator role. And mostly students focus AZ-500 and after the AZ-500 they prefer Azure Security Engineer roles and Cloud Security Engineer roles, where they focus specifically on the security services like Defender. Okay. So they configure specific the security policies, encryptions, firewall, and manage the all over protections for the cloud environment in the security engineer part. And we also have some other options available, other opportunities available over here, like cloud engineer. So after doing this, you can also go for the cloud engineer where you are responsible to manage and deploy all the services like Azure Administrator. And after this, you can get more growth after doing the DevOps, where you will manage whole the pipeline, maintain the automation and all these things with the help of like DevOps tools, Kubernetes, Jenkins, and all these things. And if you are not confident that much, so you can start with the cloud support roles. So this is the easy entry point for the cloud. You can start for the applying for the cloud support roles, technical cloud support roles. So where you will provide some necessary help to the clients regarding the cloud services. And you can also go for the cloud consultant. Here you will interact with the client and manage the basic things in the organization. So after doing this, you can go for these roles. Okay. And how much salary you can expect after doing these things? So you can expect around 3.5 LP to 7 LP per year for a fresher as an Azure administrator role. And when you talk about the mid level, around 2 to 5 years of experience, so it will range approximately 7 to 12 LPA. And after having a good experience, you can easily earn up to 12 to 15 LPAs. Okay. So this is the price that you can get in the market after completing just AZ-104. Okay. And when you also complete the AZ-500, you are eligible for these packages like entry level 6 to 9, mid level 10 to 16, and the senior level 18 to 28. Okay. And if you covered both the certifications and you opt the both the certification, so you can earn up to 20 to 26 on a average basis per year, and you can also reach 35 plus or more after gaining a good experience in this technology. Okay. And when you discuss globally, so globally you will get more better opportunities where you can earn up to like 80,000 USD. So 1,30,000 USD for the Azure Administrator role, and for the security engineer role, you can get 1,10,000 to 1,50,000 USD per year for these roles. So on an average, you can earn after completing the both the certification in US around 1,40,000 to 1,80,000 USD per year. So before starting, there are some small prerequisites. Okay. The opportunity and the salary opportunities will clear to everyone.
Yes, yes, Pransh.
Okay. Now there are some small prerequisites, like starting with the basics, the basic knowledge of operating systems, like Windows operating system, Linux operating system, their behavior and small configurations, and all these things. And the basic understanding of virtualization, how the virtualization will work, what are the virtual machines, virtual network, virtual disks, some basic concepts, and like virtualization technologies, how they create with the help of hypervisor, different type of hypervisors, type 1 and type 2 hypervisors, like this stuff of virtualization. And networking, the good knowledge of TCP IP model, OSI model, and some protocols like DNS, DHCP, and the IP addressing, subnetting, and VPNs, firewall, this type of knowledge. And some little bit basics understanding about the cloud technology, like what are the virtual machine, how create the virtual machine, how you can create the account in the Azure portal, how you can access. Like this is the small prerequisites for starting this course. If you know, it is good, but if you don't know, so I will give you the knowledge from the scratch, so you will not face the problem. So next, this is the prerequisite, and after this, you can start the course. So let's start the basic discussion about the topic today. We will give I will give you the basic introduction to cloud. The We will discuss about the infrastructure that we are using and all the general discussion. So let's start. So l- let's communicate. I have some questions to you. Okay. So answer that questions. Like all of you are working or a fresher.
I am working.
Okay. In which profile, Sanjeev?
Previously in Infosys, I used to work as service desk. Right now, I'm working as application support engineer.
Okay. And other, Sujay? Okay. So basically, when you talk about the companies that are using the on-premises infrastructure, What generally they have, like for example, if you have 100 users in your organization and you require to set up a centralized authentication system for your company. Okay. So what you need first, you will need an operating system like a server operating system. For the centralized authentication, we will use the Windows Server. Okay. So Windows Server have the ADDS feature. With the help of ADDS, you can make a centralized authentication and authorization system. So first thing clear, you required a server that have the Windows Server operating system.
Hello? Please, there's no image.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just telling all the things, what things you required to set up the on-premises infrastructure. Okay. So for on-premises infrastructure, for 100 users, if you want a centralized authentication system, what you will do, you will take one server, okay, with the operating system Windows Server. And for managing the server, you need a network, right? So for networking, you will use the router, switch, and all these things. And for the security, what you need? For security, you need firewalls. Okay. And for managing this infrastructure, you need the different type of engineers. Like for managing the server, you need the server administrator. Okay. For managing the network, you need the network engineer. Okay, so you need server, you need network, and you need firewall. So for managing these roles, you need the specific engineers for this. Like server, if you are choosing the Windows server, you will hire one Windows Server administrator. And for managing the network, you will hire one network engineer in your organization. For managing the security, you will hire the network security engineer. And then you are able to serve your clients. Okay. So this is about the on-premises infrastructure where you will manage all these things. Like you will purchase your server, your hardware. Okay. You will purchase your networking device, routers, switches. You will purchase a firewall. All these things you will purchase by your own and you have to manage it by your own. Okay. So for managing these resources, you need the manpower, you need the space where you will set up the data center your. So all these things you have required, you have many expenses to do. And along with this, you need a continuous power supply. So you will also make a power backup plan, like plan for the UPS also. Then you are able to run your servers. Okay. And the all the process will take time, cost, efforts, all these things. Then you are able to serve this user. But there is a main problem that after the 1 year, our user will increase by 200. So our total users are 300. So now we need some more configuration and more better server. So we have to again purchase the new server, right? So it will become very expensive for scaling up our organization. because one server approximately, if you are looking for a good server for the 100 user, it will cost you around 1 to 3 lakhs. Okay. And you are investing 1 or 2, 3 lakhs rupees. So you think that this resource will work for at least 5 years or 10 years, right? This is the normal mentality of humans. Like if you are investing a good amount in anything, so you want that it will sustain for the long time. But suddenly your companies grows well and the user will increase by 200. So now this server is not able to handle that much load. So that's why what you do, you need an additional server. So you will add one more server. So server 1. So this is server 0, this is server 1. Now you will able to handle this workload. And now what you can do after the cloud comes, you can save the cost, you can easily scale up, you can easily configure the high availability. Like in the organization, if you are using server, the data of the server is very crucial. And you must have to ensure the uptime for the server, right? So for these all things, you will set up the backup servers for the high availability. So you required approximately for setuping a proper environment for 300 users or 200 users, you required 3 to 4 servers. In that scenario, you can properly configure the high availabilities and the storage server, then properly your service will run. So managing this all the infrastructure is very difficult for the startups and new companies, right? So what they can do, they can use the cloud service. Okay. So in the cloud environment, you does not need to purchase the hardware. All the things are managed by your cloud provider. Okay. So you do not need to manage all the things by your own. Your cloud provider will take care of all these things. Right? So let's get the basic idea about the cloud computing. What is actually cloud computing? So cloud computing is the on-demand delivery of compute, storage, network, identity, security, and platform service over a provider managed infrastructure accessed via APIs, portals, CLI, and built using a pay as you consume model. Okay. So what does it mean? Basically, before the cloud, we use our on-premises setup where we manage the compute service, storage service, network service, identity security, all these things. Okay. So now we do not have to take care about all these things. Our cloud provider will take care of all these things. So what the cloud providers have their data centers, okay, where they will manage whole the infrastructure. You just have to pay that you use, that you consume. Okay, what does it means? Like, let me explain it with the help of example. Like, you are using mobile data, like you make a recharge for 2 GB data or 1.5 GB data per day, right? Everyone aware, no? Like you will recharge your mobiles with the mobile recharge plans that gives you 2 GB data per day and 1.5 GB and like this. So what in this you will get a daily data of 2 GB and the company will charge according to that. But what if I used 1 GB data in a day? Okay. So what if I use just 1 GB data? So my rest remaining 1 GB data is wasted. So why should I pay for it? So like com cloud computing is like that. So you do not have to pay for the rest 1 GB. That much part you have used. For that much part you have to pay. Like totally, if you talk about 2 GB per day plan, in 30 days you will get 60 GB of data. Okay, 60 GB of data. And the price for the 60 GB will be approximately 200 rupees. Right? But a user says, Sir, I just used 30 GB data. So can you reduce my bill to 100? But it is not possible in the ISP way, like in the recharge plan. But this service is possible in cloud computing. Let's suppose you have created the virtual machine. Okay. In the cloud environment, you have created one virtual machine that is turned on for 2 hours or 1 hour. So you just have to pay the cost for the 1 hour resource, like a rent service. Like sometimes you will see there are in previous days, like approximately around in 2010 or 15, there was a gaming center where you will pay some small amount of fees, then use the video games for 1 hour or 30 minutes like this. Anyone here who will use this service like game sessions for
Yeah, I
one
used
hour,
to,
half
I
hour?
used to,
Yeah.
yeah, I used to use it for only 10 rupees. They used to provide the PC for 1 hour, and we
Yeah,
can
like that.
play the games which are installed.
Yeah. So cloud service is like that. Like for that much time, you will use the resource. You just have to pay for that much time. So you do not have to pay the full amount. Like if you have created one virtual computer, like one virtual machine in the cloud portal, and you use this machine for 10 hours, and after 10 hours, you stop this machine. So you just have to pay for the 10 hours. But in on-premises environment, if you purchased a server, so it is the one-time investment. So if you are used on-premises setup and you purchase in physical hardware, and after using it for 1 month and 1 year, you will return to the shopkeeper. So it will deny your request because it say to you, no, this is sold out, so we can't return it like that. But in the cloud environment, we do not have that problem. So you can just use the resource for that much time you required, and after that time, you can return this resource. So this resource is optimized by any other person. Okay. So all these things will happen in the cloud with the help of virtualization technology. Okay. So the base of the cloud technology is virtualization. Like guys, you are aware about the virtualization technologies type 1 hypervisors and type 2 hypervisors? If no, so I will explain little bit about this technology.
No, no, I don't know. I mean, I used to use the VMware or
Okay.
the virtual box. That's all.
Okay. So let me give the small introduction about this. Okay. So I also have a PDF that just a minute I will show about the virtualization. Okay. So we all are using virtual machine. We know the virtual machine. What is virtual machine? Basically, the virtual machine is a simulation of a physical computer. Okay. So virtual machine, we know the small computer inside our computer is virtual machine. And it is also referred as a guest machine. And our physical machine is referred as a host machine. Right? So for creating the virtual machine, the technology is responsible as hypervisors. For creating the virtual machine, the technology that is responsible is hypervisor. With the help of hypervisors, we create the virtual machines. The hypervisor is used for the hardware separation. Like, let's suppose in your system, your physical host, you have 8 GB of RAM, okay, and you want to create a logical separation for your virtual machine, like you have to separate the 2 GB RAM for your virtual machine. So the hypervisor technology is responsible to separate that 2 GB. Okay. So hypervisor is mainly responsible for creating the virtual machine. We have two type of hypervisor. Our type 1 hypervisors means bare metal hypervisors. And we have the type 2 hypervisor that is hosted hypervisors. Right? So let me explain it with the diagram. Then you can read the theory part. So let's firstly talk about the type 2 hypervisor that is hosted hypervisor. Okay, understand. So first thing, we have our physical hardware. Like let's suppose you have your laptop. Okay, your laptop is a hardware. It has some sort of storage, like 512 GB of storage and 8 GB of RAM and a processor. Okay, so this is the hardware part. So the bottom layer is hardware, and in this hardware, you are running an operating system, right? In my example, I'm using the Windows 11 operating system in my laptop. Okay, good. In my laptop, I have some applications like the PPT application, the browsers, WhatsApp, and other applications I have. So this is my host OS, means my Windows operating system like Windows 11. And in my Windows 11 operating system, I have some applications. Okay, this is applications. And along with this applications, I will install the hypervisor application that helps me to create the virtual machine. So when you talk about the type 2, so the example of type 2 hypervisors are our VMware Workstation Pro, the Oracle VirtualBox, the Parallel Desktop is the example of type 2 hypervisors. Okay. So like if I show my entire screen, I will show you the hypervisors. Like this is my desktop screen. This is my host OS. I will show you the my OS information. Just look MS Info 32. Okay. So guys, this is my host OS and it have the hardware. When I talk about my hardware, so I have 12 GB of RAMs. Okay. So this is my host OS. In this host OS, I have some applications, like these are my applications: Word, Excel, PPT, Outlook, File Explorer. These are applications. Along with these applications, I will install the hypervisor softwares, that is Oracle VirtualBox and VMware Workstation Pro. These are my hypervisor softwares. With the help of this hypervisor software, okay, so let me open one hypervisor. So this is my hypervisor software. Okay, with this software, I have the virtual machines that I have created. Like this, I have the virtual machine like Windows Server 2022 and another virtual machine like Windows 10 virtual machine, right? So this is the type 2 hypervisor. So when you have a testing purpose, like you have created some application, you want to deploy that application, okay, and you have to test an operating system, like you are learning the Linux operating system. You are new to the Linux environment, so you do not purchase a separate laptop for learning the Linux operating system, right? And or you will not format your main laptop, main operating system for the learning purpose. You will not format your Windows operating system, right? So this is not a practical way to learn the Linux operating system. So what you can do, you can use the virtualization technology and use the type 2 hypervisors for doing these things. You can create the virtual machine for the Linux operating system and you can learn the Linux operating system. So this is about the type 2 hypervisor. And when you talk about the type 1 hypervisor, that is used in data center levels, means in the data center of Azure, AWS, GCP, where the type 1 hypervisors are used. The bare metal hypervisors are used. Okay. So what is in the type 1 hypervisor? They have the hardware. Then on that hardware, they directly install the hypervisor. They do not install any other host operating system. They directly install the hypervisor software. And when you talk about the type 1 hypervisor, you have the Hyper-V, the VMware ESXi, and you have the Proxmox, Citrix. Like these are examples of type 1 hypervisor, right? So type 1 hypervisors are used in data center level. And with this hypervisor, you will create the virtual machines. Like the instance that you will create on your Azure portal or AWS portal. Na? So that is physically creating on the data center with the help of hypervisor, right? So this is the basics about the hypervisor technology. So you can read it out. Just quickly read and then we will move further. So, okay. So the virtualization, virtual machine, this part is clear. The technology responsible for creating the virtual machine, the hypervisor. So everyone, this is clear. Guys, please respond. Neeraj, yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Good. So let's move to next part. So we are here. We are learning about the core definition of cloud computing. Actually, what is cloud computing? Now we understand the cloud computing is on-demand delivery of services like that you can access with the help of network or internet. So, so in the cloud computing, you can access the resource via the help of internet. Okay. So that is cloud service. And when you talk about the cloud providers available, so mainly if you talk about the top three providers, so we have our Microsoft Azure, we have the Amazon Web Server, AWS, we have Google, okay, so GCP, Google Cloud Platform, we have. So these are major cloud providers in the market. They provide you the cloud services. And among this, we are going to learn the Azure Cloud that is provided by Microsoft. So this is the definition. Definition clear. Then there are key points about the cloud computing. So resources are virtualized, like I explained the type 1 hypervisor, no? So in the data centers, they use the type 1 hypervisor for the virtualization. And the host and in the host side, we use our type 2 hypervisors. But when you talk about the data center level virtualization, you will deal with the type 1 hypervisors. Okay. So you do not get the full control, like you do not have to take care about the hardware infrastructure, the network security part. You just have to use the software defined infrastructure, software based service. So you do not have to manage the physical hardware. And in this, the access is properly controlled. You have proper control over your machine. Okay. So you can manage the identity and access. And it is fully API driven. Means you can easily use the APIs for doing the rest things. You can use the graphical environment if you want. And if you want the CLI environment, you want the scripting power. So you can use the bash scripts and the PowerShell scripts also with the help of Cloud Azure Cloud Shell. It provides you the both the options for the bash or the PowerShell. So this is about cloud computing. And there are the core functions and features why we use the cloud services. What are the advantages of using the cloud service? So the first main thing is the high availability. Okay. So what is high availability? Guys, if we have our company and we have prepared a website for our company, so we want that our website will run 24 into 7 because we don't know when the customer needs our service. So what we required in our company, the website will accessible by 24 into 7, right? For this, we need a server, but by chance, if one servers get failed, so what happened? Our service will get down, our service will get stopped, right? But we need a continuous service. So we need to set up a backup server, like we will set up a ADC, additional domain controller, or a backup server, right? But in the cloud, you do not have to take care about this because when you use the cloud resources, so in the cloud data centers, they have proper setup for the high availability. Means there is no tension of power cut. So you do not have to think about the power cut problems and the server overheating problem and all these things. All the things are taken care by your cloud provider. Okay. so you will not face a downtime. Cloud promise you approx 99.9% of uptime, okay, in this premium services. So this is high availability, means mostly time your server will be available for you. This is known as high availability. And the next thing is scalability. Okay, like an example, we seen that we have 100 user and suddenly our users will increased by 200, so totally we have 300 user. So our on-premises server is not scalable quickly, right? In a physical environment, if you want a new server, so it is a long process. Like, firstly you will observe that the server is not able to respond all the client. Then the engineer will report to the senior engineer that server is not capable for the requests. So what the engineer will inform the IT manager, then IT manager apply for the new server, then the company will choose a server, plan for the server, then order a server. After this, the server will deliver. It may take time. Minimally, it will take 10 to 15 days. Okay. So this is very long process to scale up anything. But there is no limitation for scaling up the things in the cloud environment. Whenever you want, you can quickly scale up everything. Like for your requirement, you are using 16 GB of RAM, and suddenly you want to play some games, and the game have minimum requirement of 64 GB of RAM. So what you can do, you can go quickly and increase the capacity of your virtual machine very easily within the 5 minutes. So from this to this, on premises will take a large time, but in the cloud you can achieve this within the minutes. Okay, so this is the advantage of using the cloud service. So this is the scalability, how fast you can scale up. Okay, so this is scalability.
Hello,
Yes.
Priyansh. I just wanted to ask because in Hyper V2 we used to select the RAM as per it, right? I mean, as per the host device. Here, for example, I'm using 16 GB of RAM of my device, and I want to use a game which is of 64 GB RAM, which is required to use 64 GB of RAM, for example. So if I deploy an instance or an virtual device with which consists of 64 GB, even if I want to run it on my device, it won't be able to run, right? Or
Like
is it able to run?
if you are using the on-premises infrastructure and your host machine just have 16 GB, right?
No, no, no. I'm going with the cloud itself. I
Okay,
have 64 GB RAM of an computer or an server, I would say. Okay, let's
okay,
consider it as a server. But when I access it through my computer, which is of like for example 16 GB or 12 GB,
okay.
can I able to run that application which is running on the server uh, i- while accessing it directly using the 16 GB RAM? Does it run?
Yeah, it will run because you are running that application on that server that have 64 GB RAM. So that will perfectly run
Yeah, in
because yeah,
hyper 2, I think the example that you have given previously, it states
yeah,
that the RAM which the host device has, it should be used accordingly. I mean,
yeah,
only the part of it.
yeah.
So it doesn't apply for the cloud, right? We can use any number of RAM as well. RAM is not
Yeah.
uh,
So
used.
the limitations of type 2 hypervisor are not applied in type 1 hypervisor, means in cloud. So you can scale up that much amount you can want. So you just have to pay for that service and you will get that service. Like if your laptop, your own PC have 16 GB of RAM and you want to play a game that is required a 64 GB and let's suppose 128 GB of RAM. Okay. So what you can do, you can open your browser, log in into your cloud portal and create a virtual machine with that specific configuration, and you are able to deploy a heavy application that requires a 28 GB of RAM. Okay. So you will not face any problem, right?
Yeah, and
This
we
is
can
possible.
access it smoothly. I mean, there would be no issue with
Yeah. For accessing your cloud resources, you just need a good internet connection.
okay.
You can use your machine, you can play your games, you can do whatever you want. No problem. Clear?
Got it, Priyansh. Thank you.
Okay. Any other doubt of anyone? If you want to ask, you can freely ask, guys. No? Okay. So we have discussed about the scalability. The next is elasticity. Automatic scaling based on CPU memory and queue length. What is it? Actually, when you use the cloud virtual machines, so it will offer you two types. Like one type is the traditional VMs. You have to manually, if you want to upgrade it, so you have to manually upgrade it. Okay. And second option is automatic upgradation. Means you have set up a server in the cloud environment like a web server, and if it have 200 requests per day, and suddenly at any point of time the resources demands more, like when it is handling, okay, when it is handling approximately, where is the slide? Okay. So where we have 200 requests per day, so what our server's performance, when you talk about CPU, the utilization of our CPU is 50%. Okay. But suddenly the requests are increased and the 1,000 requests came to your web server. The cloud provider will monitor the utilization. When the utilization reach to 80, okay, with the set parameter, so the virtual machine will automatically upgrade. Okay. So based on the utilization of the resources, the machine will automatically scale up. So that is elasticity. So in the traditional environment, on-premises environment, this feature is not possible. But in cloud, this is possible, right? So this is elasticity. The next, fault tolerance. Like if anything fails, like any hardware fail, your service will not stop. It will continue properly. So this is like fault tolerance. It is just like a high availability. So any fault will be tolerated. So it is highly tolerable. So any problem is manageable, handle easily very. Now desert recovery. So there is a very less chance of data loss in the cloud. So you can easily recover your data because they are preparing the replications of your data in their data centers. So they have a great infrastructure for all these things. So you do not take care about your data. So your data will be perfectly safe in the cloud environment, right? So this is the core features of the cloud. Okay. So clear up to this, guys. Everyone, like clear what is cloud and what are the core functionalities of cloud. Up to this, clear?
Guys, kindly speak up so that session will be more interactive. Yes, thank you, Neeraj,
Yes.
for yes in the
Yeah.
chat box. Yes, you can,
Yeah.
answer in the chat box also, or you can give the thumbs up also, so that we can, get the answer. Yes, Priyansh.
Okay.
So I
Let's.
think we
Yeah.
should sum up the session today, or you want to continue? Guys, anyone, you want to continue today's session? Or we should, sum up the session today and we should start tomorrow? Anyone, please?
We can continue, I think, Priyansh.
Okay. So let's continue the session. Let's move towards the next topic. So this is the types of cloud. Okay. We are discussed about the core functionalities of the cloud environment. Now this is the time of discussing the types of cloud are available among this. Okay. So first we have our public cloud. So what is it? Shared physical infra. Okay. Logical isolation. Azure use multiple tenure. Architecture means what is it? It is our cloud providers, third party cloud providers like Azure, AWS, GCP, OCI. So these are our public cloud providers that gives our cloud services. Okay, that we are discussing now, that we just need a internet connection to use that services. So this is our public cloud. So we do not have to maintain the physical infrastructure. Okay. And the next is our private cloud, where you will create the simulation of the data center in your premises. Like this is good for the security. If you want a high-end security, so you can go for the private cloud, but it is very expensive. If you set up a private cloud in your infrastructure, so it is a very expensive option, but it is very secure and you have a full control and the full accessibility of your all the resources. Okay, so you have the dedicated infrastructure and the full control. Like you can use the type 1 virtualization, the type 1 hypervisor, and you will set up your own private cloud. So when you create your own private cloud, so VMware ESXi, VMware vCenter, so VMware vSphere is very useful and mostly used in private cloud environments. So next type is hybrid cloud. So what it is? It is on-prem, means on-premise infrastructure plus the first Azure private cloud plus public cloud setup. Like on-premises means our private cloud and Azure means our public cloud. So when you use both the cloud combinedly, so it is known as the hybrid cloud. So we have some servers in our on-premises and we set up our some servers in the cloud environment. So this is the hybrid cloud infrastructure.
Uh, Priyansh,
Yeah,
can you just rewind the public and private clouds once again?
yeah, of course. So public cloud, let's first understand the example like that the cloud providers we are using now, Azure, AWS, GCP, OCI. These are public cloud providers. In public cloud provider, you will use the shared physical infrastructure. Means the public cloud provider will create a data center and manage the server racks, manage the servers, manage the network, manage the security, right? All the physical things are managed by your public cloud provider like Azure. So Azure will create the data center and manage all these things, right? And you just have to access it via the internet. So you will open up your browser and log into the Azure portal. For accessing the Azure resources, you will log into the AWS portal for accessing the AWS resources. This is the public cloud. Okay. The next one is private cloud. So in the companies, if you have a MNC, so what you can do, you can create your own cloud. Okay. So how you can do this? You can simply purchase all the things, all the hardware into your premises. Like for setting up cloud, you need some multiple amount of servers, right? So we'll purchase multiple servers. You will prepare the server rack. You will prepare the networking solution. You will prepare the security solution. Everything you will prepare by your own and set up all the things. Okay. So here you will have the full control in private cloud. Your dedicated infrastructure you have. So you are not using any shared resource. So you are using your own resource, right? So companies if want the private cloud, so they just required security. So that's why they use the private cloud. And private cloud is costly and public cloud is cost effective. Okay. And here you do not have the access to the hardware in our public cloud. You can't go in the data centers of Azure and AWS for accessing your machine, right? But in private cloud, you can monitor your hardware if you want. So you can customize your hardware and you can choose the virtualization platform also here. So like for the virtualization, our Azure will use Hyper-V and like AWS will use VMware ESXi. So in your cloud, in private cloud, you can choose whatever you want. If you want that you want to use the open source solution, so you can go for the Proxmox. This is the type 1 open source hypervisor. So you can go for the Proxmox. You can use Proxmox in your organization. So it is the highly customizable option. Okay. So private cloud is highly customizable. You have the dedicated infrastructure, you have full control, you can choose the hypervisor interface, all the things, all the control you have. And in the public cloud, you do not have all the control. You will use the shared physical infrastructure. You just got the logical separation into your account with the help of your account. You will get your security boundaries with the help of your accounts. Okay?
Priyansh, so you mean to say the only difference is whether we want to handle the hardware or not. So
Yeah.
depending upon it, we move to the public or the private as per requirement.
Yeah, hardware and cost. These are two big difference between these two clouds. The private one is most expensive. Okay.
Got it. And in
Okay.
private, I don't think we have scalability option. Do we have scalability option there?
We have our scalability option for our VMs if our host machines are capable for that.
Okay.
So we
Okay.
have a limited scalability option here. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So this hybrid cloud is clear.
The combination of the public and private cloud, I think. In
Yeah,
on-prem is nothing but the private cloud, right? Or the servers
private
that
cloud.
we create on the privately,
Yeah,
where we have access to the hardware itself.
yes. Okay, good. So the next is multi-cloud. So where we use the multiple cloud vendors. So it is said a multi-cloud infrastructure where you use the virtual machines of Azure, where we use the instance of AWS, where we use the virtual machine of OCI. So when you use multiple cloud providers, when you use the multiple cloud vendors, okay, in our organization, so it is known as multi-cloud environment. Clear?
Yes, Prince, got it.
Okay. So this is the service model.
Priyansh,
Yeah.
uh, I just wanted to know, have you heard SaaS, security as a service, where we deal with providing cloud security services to the clients?
Yeah.
So
Ye-
I have
Yeah.
went through most of it, but I don't know. I mean, I didn't get in any of the lectures in demo lectures as well. We mostly
Mm.
deal with IaaS and PaaS, platform as a service, or infrastructure as a service, or an software as a service. I never heard about security as a service. Do you have any information regarding to it?
Like it is like a software as a service. Like when you use the software as a service, so you can
Uh-huh.
choose any software now for
Uh-huh.
using. So like
Uh-huh.
that in security as a service, you
Mm-hmm.
will choose the security platform.
Mm-hmm.
So you will choose the defender like for the security. So the clouds provider will provide you the defender access, the defender centralized control. With that control, you can manage your organization infrastructure. So it is just a sub part of software as a service.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay. So I think let's stop the class here and continue tomorrow. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Preet.
So up to this, all things are clear. If anyone have any type of doubt, so you can ask freely.
Yes, sir. Session was very informative. Thank you guys for joining today. And who are interested to take enrollment, who have not taken, they can connect with the admission team. And thank you, Priyan sir. Let's connect by tomorrow, same time.
Okay, so thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for the time. Good day.